Let's shift gears to buildings. We don't normally think of buildings being sources, major sources of pollution, but when you take direct and indirect forms of energy, buildings actually are responsible for generating about 40% of our CO2 emissions, and much more than that in urban areas. And so I think that would surprise a lot of people, which is why this caption for an article in Fast Company last month probably turned a few heads. I've been polluting the planet for years. I'm not an oil exec, I'm an architect. And the story here that I think is really pretty wonderful is this is a senior architect in an influential firm, and she was trying to figure out how do you reduce the carbon content in the buildings that she designs and specifies, like cement or steel. All the data were out there, but they didn't have an easy way to fit it into design tools they use for their architectural work. So they created an app, and they made it available to the industry. And now every architect has the opportunity to reduce the carbon content by 10 to 30% of materials before even they arrive on site. It's a great example, I think, of someone kind of connecting where they are in whatever field they are, connecting it to climate change, and then exerting some leverage and making a difference. We also have to remember the buildings last a long time, 30 years to well over 100 years. And that if you think of all the square footage on Earth right now, it's going to double in the next 40 years. It really is the equivalent of building a new New York City every month for 40 years. So we really have to get this right. Every new building that goes up without climate change in mind leaves a long legacy because it's a whole lot harder to go back and renovate. So let me keep on this train and look at some innovation that's going on within building materials. Mass timber. Have any of you heard of this? Seen any of this in the market? The idea really was born in Europe, but British Columbia has played a big role in the research and making it happen, and now it's a pretty fast-moving market. You basically take advantage of wood supplies and then the ability to sequester carbon, add the wonderful features that it offers in terms of aesthetics and other things. And now the code officials are realizing it's sturdy enough, it's strong enough, it's fine for taller buildings. Well, this dormitory at the University of British Columbia was the world's tallest timber building. It was just overtaken by one in Norway, and now the race is on for who will be taller. But this technology also saves time and money. This building was erected in 66 days from the time the timber panels were delivered on site.